World WCR Championship makes its way over to the final weekend here at the circuit in Jerez. Welcome to the Spanish round of the championship, and the same place where last year Battle was done the championship. We're ready to go once again. 25 minutes of Superpole is about to get underway. Let's join our commentary team of Steve English, and first of all, friend and colleague over there with Dave Goddard.
With 9 victories in the 10 races between them so far, Roberto Ponziani, the only rider to break their dominance with a victory on home turf at Cremona earlier this season. It was Spanish riders all the way in free practice this morning, with 4 riders taking the top 4 places, including Paulo Ramos, the wild card this weekend, an impressive second in the times. Total of 25 riders out there this weekend. Paulo Ramos, one of 2 wild cards in among the entry, the other being Irina Nadieva of the Ukraine, making her debut. The only other changes to the entry, Emily Bondi not competing this weekend, the Frenchwoman still recovering from hand injuries suffered at her home round at Manicourt. And the other change being Tara Morrison, the Australian, making her second appearance of the season in place of Billy Fuller at Carl Cox Motorsports. But it is Maria Herrera who starts as the favourite this weekend for Tissot's Superpole with her times from earlier. She may have lost her perfect record of podium finishes at Manicourt 6 weeks ago, but has at least 1 win at every round in 2025. Looking to set down a marker, but with how close the gap is, it's going to be difficult to do so in race 1 unless her rival Beatriz Naylor suffers misfortune.
Yeah, exactly. And what we've seen through the course of the season is that they're the 2 riders that have had that consistency. Naylor in this morning session, 4th fastest, but she comes into this weekend basically playing with house money. The expectation is that Maria Herrera is going to be your world champion at the end of this weekend. So for Beatriz, this is a chance to just keep doing what she's done all the way through the season. But critically for her, her season pivots on that penalty she had in race 1 at the opening round of the year, just where she was given a penalty for exceeding track limits. The point swing in that has proved critical by the end of the season. She's only 6 points down on Herrera, the beneficiary.
Taking a look here at the end of that second race at Manicourt, when Beatriz Naylor stole the win through the final chicane from the improving Chloe Jones for the Empito Crescent Yamaha team. Beatriz Naylor, despite that penalty in the opening race of the year, has a record of a podium in every race this year. And really for her, only race wins will do to try and bring down that deficit. Here is Roberta Ponziani sitting 3rd in the points result. Did some absorbing battles last time out at Manicourt, but ended up shuffled off the podium each time. A second win of the season to follow up her victory on home soil at Cremona will be her primary goal. Yeah,
up against Chloe Jones in that fight for 3rd in the championship. Chloe's had 4 second-place finishes in a row, so she's got a lot of form. And I think on the number 15 bike, you can see the orange bike in the middle of the shot. She is the rider to keep an eye on this weekend, because she should be one of the riders that really can get in the mix, fight for the race win, and for any of the riders in this Superpole session, jump onto the back wheel of Chloe Jones, because it will drag you up the grid.
Yes, an aggressive start out of pit lane even there for Chloe Jones to get going for this Tissot Superpole session over 25 minutes. Since her podium performance in her home round at Donington Park, she really has improved through the field, and she could have won both races at Manicourt. She ran wide in race 1 while fighting for the lead, and of course had that tiny slip up through the chicane, allowing Beatriz Naylor to get clear to take the win. Her frustration was very clear after that, so we see Naylor making her way out just in a little way behind the other riders just to get a bit of track position.
Yeah, and you can see Naylor just getting out of pit lane now. There's a few riders in and around her. It looked like it was Samoa's out there as well, and it is the number 22, so nobody that's going to really be too much of a beneficiary there for Naylor to be following on her first flying lap. But we've got a 25-minute session to be able to set your lap times during this one.
Yes, a long way to go through this session to try and get that track position, find someone to slipstream with as we wait for the first flying laps to begin. Number 94 there, that's Beatriz Barbera. She currently yet to score, trying to improve the field. Good to see Sarah Sanchez back out as well. Suffered hand injuries in a crash at Manicourt, but that has now had time to heal over the last 6 weeks. She scored her 2nd World Championship victory here at Jerez 12 months ago, finished 3rd in last year's championship, as Anna Carrasco it was who took the championship in a final showdown here at Jerez. A similar situation that we have got here this weekend, and Sanchez could be a challenger for podiums as well.
Yeah, for Sanchez, we saw the start of the season very strong, opened it with 2 podiums in Assen, but it's been a tough campaign for her. She hasn't had the fitness at the end of the season after that crash with Magny Core. Obviously it knocked her back, but as well as that, it's been a tough time for her. You can see here she comes into the pits because her visor's just broken off there in her helmet, so she'll come back in, get that replaced, and then get back out on the track.
Unfortunate problems early in the session there. You can see there for Sarah Sanchez, a broken helmet visor, thankfully not something we see all that often. See the flying lap times begin to come in very shortly. Chloe Jones will be one to watch. Certainly scored her first ever Superpole last time out at Manicourt. It was a fantastic home round in France for Lucy Boudessoul on the number 17 Yamaha as well. She scored her first ever podium in the second race there. A quite fantastic performance with third and fifth places, propelling her up to sixth in the championship, and was in the lead battle throughout in a fantastic race too. Certainly the race of the season in my eyes for the World WCR at Manicourt. So could she be on for another podium here? And
for Lucy as well, Donington was strong. She was able to run inside the top 5 there. She qualified well and just showed that it wasn't just Magny Core she made that step at.
18-year-old Paula Ramos on the number 58 Superpole, as she's known, making her World WCR debut, having competed in the Yamaha R7 Cup in Spain this year. Was on the podium here at Jerez back in April, so she knows the circuit very well. Was in the top 10 of the super final at Paul Ricard as well. Yeah,
I was told by a few of the WCR riders, keep an eye on Ramos on the 58 bike, and sure enough this morning second fastest, so she's going to be up there all the way through. When there was a recent test or a track day here, she was faster than Maria Herrera, so certainly Ramos definitely worth keeping an eye on this weekend.
Irina Nadieva is our other wild card here this weekend. Former Ukrainian national champion, made her World WCR debut last year with appearances at Misano and Portimao, but she's raced in the Spanish Yamaha Cup in the past, so knows Jerez fairly well.
Yeah, we saw Nadieva racing a couple of times last year as well in WCR, but I think fair to say the expectation is just to be able to try and see if she's able to get a bit faster as the weekend goes on and make some progress.
So the first flying laps now starting to come in. We'll see our quicker runners cross the line fairly shortly. Maria Herrera comes out of the final corner here at Jerez, turn 13, the Jorge Lorenzo hairpin. She'll be up across the line to set her first flying lap time, 1:53.062. She does go quickest ahead of Lucy Boudessoul, but over 20 minutes to go in this session.
A little bit slower than we went in this morning's session, but the outright lap record here at 51.5, so you'd expect to see that when you've got the riders around you to be able to use as the toe and as a reference, that you will get faster and faster as the session goes on. Just as the point of reference for Beatrice Naylor, with no one else around her, 0.6 of a second slower.
Yes, needs somebody to slipstream with. As you say, Madalena Simões, the Portuguese rider, was the rider she was paired up with on her opening laps of the session, but Simões has now dropped away into clearer space. Sarah Sanchez, incidentally, is the lap record holder of 1:51.533. That's from race 1 last year. Chloe Jones chasing Taylor Relf, the Australian. She'll be fired up heading into this weekend. Was disqualified from the second race at Manicourt for ignoring penalties after jumping the starts. She's shown strong form, Taylor Relf, with at least one top 10 at every round this year on the full throttle racing machine. Paced here by Chloe Jones. Looking at the times coming in, Taylor Relf is on a hot lap here. You
can see there for Sanchez, she went back out and she's had the same issue again, so just an ongoing problem for her, but just needs to change her helmet now. You've lost 5 minutes of the session.
Yeah, change of crash helmet needed there for the lap record holder, yet to just set a lap.
Just looking outside of our commentary box window, and again the team just trying to repair that and replace the visor, so hopefully this time it's able to stay in place and she's able to get back out there.
Taylor Relf does go to the top of the times with a 1:52.898 ahead of Maria Herrera. Lucy Boudessoul currently third.
Just again for Sanchez, she's gone back into the pit box, so you would imagine that is now to finally change that helmet, but ultimately it's going to be 15 minutes left in the session, 10 minutes gone before she's even able to start a flying lap.
And Maria Herrera does respond to Taylor Relf's pace at 1:52.12. As down the inside there goes the number 46, that is Paquita Ruiz. She was running strongly in free practice this morning as well, in the points in every race so far this year.
Yeah, and you can see Naylor now into the 52s on her own as well, so that's good pace from her. For Relf, she's out there in that group with Chloe Jones. Looks like she's at the front of that group now, but that's a really good lap time to put in straight off at the start of the session. It gives her a good banker lap time.
Boudessoul, Paula Ramos and the American Mallory Dobbs all quick in split 2 as well.
Dobbs in that group with Chloe Jones and with Taylor Relf as well.
So Mallory Dobbs looking for improvement here. She's currently down in 13th in the points. She's only cracked into the top 10 a couple of times. That was at Manicourt last time out. So this is an improved performance from the American on the number 14 machine. Maria Herrera goes quicker again, though, in split 2, looking to improve her time, try and get into the 151s here. Beatriz Naylor looking quick in sector 2 as well on the 36. Paula Ramos on the 58 as well, our wild card this weekend, looking to be the potential spoiler in the championship battle, trying to make a name for herself, certainly. She certainly did in free practice with that second fastest time. Just on the shoulder of Chloe Jones there as they head into the final corner. It's the Jorge Lorenzo hairpin. Trying to catch a toe off the British rider as they come up and over the line once again. Is Ramos going to improve onto the front row? Indeed she does. Third quickest behind Lucy Budisol, 152.785. Beatriz Naylor is on a quick lap though. Sees it slightly up in sector 3. Sarah Sanchez has fitted a new crash helmet. She's about to climb back on board the number 64 Yamaha. Identical Yamaha YZF R7 machines, of course, in this championship. As here comes Beatriz Naylor. Let's see if she can go to the top of the time. She's currently in 4th quickest in the time, slightly up in the 3rd. So had she lost any time in sector 4? Up towards the line she goes. 2nd, lost a little bit of time, just under half a second down on Maria Herrera. Yeah,
still a good lap there, and it's always difficult whenever you're out on your own, but at least now for Naylor, catching into that traffic. Isis Karania in front of her. Isis has actually had some decent performances through the course of this season where she's been able to give herself a chance of being qualifying up in those front few rows of the grid. The opening round of the year she qualified in 8th, so she does have that ability to be able to get with the right person. So this could work out well for Karania and also for Beatriz Naylor.
Herrera goes quickest again on this lap. She's currently up in the 2nd split. It's Herrera from Naylor and Budisol at the moment. Ramos, Relf and Dobbs filling the 2nd row. Gabriela Ponziani currently down in... Roberta Ponziani, rather, currently down in 7th position at the moment on row 3. And Chloe Jones only 9th. Yeah,
Chloe Jones is the rider to keep an eye on for that as well. She's out of position on the 3rd row, considering that she was pole sitter last time out. Front row start at Balaton Park, and then the 2nd row in Donington the week before that as well. So for her, it's about trying to make sure you're able to put together that lap. But right now, it's Maria Herrera that's putting together the laps and on course for potentially a new lap record on this one.
Keep an eye on the number 6 machine. Naylor is up in sector 2 as well, looking on for a personal best here, but Ferreira is absolutely flying along as she comes into the final corner. Let's see if she can improve, not only improve her time, but try and break that lap record. Remember, it's 151.533, held by Sarah Sanchez. Up towards the line comes Maria Herrera, 151.572, just outside by 0.04 of a second. Across the line comes Paquita Ruiz. She improves to 4th place.
Good lap there by Paquita Ruiz as well. She was 3rd fastest in this morning session, so she's finding her form around this track. And when you look at Ruiz's form this season, there's been a few times where she has actually been really strong. Hungary qualified on the 2nd row, came away with 2 top 6 finishes, and she's also in the top 5 at the start of the season as well in Assen. So she has the potential to be able to spring a surprise, but it all comes down to what you can do in the Superpole session. Speaking to some of the WCR riders, they've all said the same thing. If you qualify on the 3rd row of the grid, you leave yourself really difficult to try and go with those leaders right from the start. You need to be in those top 6 spots.
So the top 6 is currently Herrera, ahead of Naylor, Budisol completing the front row, then Ruiz, Ramos and Taylor Relf rounding out that all-important top 6. Roberta Ponziani still down in only 8th position. Just that one win for her so far, the Italian at Cremona so far this year. She's never qualified on the front row. She was 4th on the grid here at Jerez at the title decider last season. So Roberta Ponziani with room to improve here. Currently 1.6 seconds off the pace. One of a number of riders making their mid-session visit to the pits at the moment. Sarah Sanchez, good to see, is now out on track, and she'll be about to set her first flying lap after those problems with her crash helmet. See her move up from currently at the foot of the times. Superpole Ramos currently in 5th position on the number 58. Good to see Mallory Dobbs up there, still in P7. Jones and the number 21 of Avalon Lewis, the New Zealander for Carl Cox Motorsports, currently rounding out the top 10 on the grid. Naylor is up in sector 3. So the number 36 looking to threaten Maria Herrera, championship rival, for pole position. Remember, just 6 points between the two going into this penultimate race of the season coming up tomorrow. Beatrice Naylor coming through the last corner now and up towards the line on the 36, 151.88. So lost a bit of time in that last sector. Once again, just 0.3 of a second off that Tissot Superpole. Lucy Budasol still in P3 at the moment on the number 17. Paquito Ruiz in P4. Further improvements further down time. Sanchez at least is going to set a lap time this time, but won't make an impression on the front runners this time around.
Yeah, and that's where halfway through the session, so important to have those banker lap times in. Sanchez, she's going to be 3.5 seconds off the pace at the end of this lap. She's got 12.5 minutes to really get herself up to pace. So the second half of this session is going to be all about where Sanchez is able to finish up, if she can get herself up onto those front 4 rows of the grid. Decent enough opening gambit there on the 5th row, but she needs to be up inside the top 9 realistically. Tricky for her coming back from injury. The other riders to keep an eye on, Chloe Jones, when she gets back out and up to speed for her next lap, she's 2 seconds off the pace right now, so a lot of time to find for Chloe Jones. But when you compare that to where she was this morning, she was in the 54s this morning, and for Jones, she's 3/4 of a second faster than she went this morning, so it's just about trying to make those steps.
Another of the Spanish contingent, number 20, Natalia Rivera, one of the star newcomers of 2025, along with Lucy Budasol. She's recently signed a further deal with the GRT team for 2026, so look to celebrate with possibly at least a top 5 this weekend. She had a pair of 6th in the French round.
Yeah, last time out in Magny-Cours was the best we've seen from Natalia, where she qualified on the 2nd row of the grid and then she came away with good results all the way through. And that's the proof of pudding about needing to qualify in those front couple of rows of the grid, because Natalia's shown some decent turns of speed this season. Qualified on the 3rd row of the grid the time before that in Balaton as well, but that led to top 10 finishes. You need to be able to go with that lead group right from the start of the races.
Into the second half of this Tissot Superpole session for the FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship now, and a lot of the riders heading back out of the pits. A couple of them are coming. Naylor is one, Paquito Ruiz is another.
It's important in this group. Chloe Jones looks like she's at the back of this group, so she needs to make sure she's able to go with Ramos on the 58.
So tucked in behind the number 83, I think that is of Astrid Madrigal, the Mexican rider. She's currently P16 in the times. They're in the pink crash helmet. Chloe Jones just behind her, trying to catch her toe. You could see the frustration on Chloe's face after she was so narrowly defeated in that second race at Magny-Cours by Beatrice Naylor, so close to that first World Championship win, having taken her first Tissot Superpole and run wide while leading the first race. She had all the hard luck at Magny-Cours and doing her best to fight back. Beatrice Naylor in the pits. She is currently 2nd quickest with a 151.88 compared to Maria Herrera's 151.572. Budasol has done at 152.621. So just 2 riders into the 151s so far. Only a few hundredths off lap record pace from earlier in the session. Maria Herrera. Chloe Jones still down in P10. Sanchez improving to P13, trying to get into that top 10, and Lucy Budasol looking to improve here, but she's lost a bit of time there. About 0.3 of a second she's lost in sector 3.
Yeah, for Lucy, still on course for her best lap of the weekend, and we'll see what the time is when she comes across the line, and just narrowly misses out in her fast time in the session. But when you're out there lapping on your own, you don't get that slipstream, you don't get that added benefit, and you can see here for the 58 of Ramos, she's been able to use that toe all the way around this lap, but she hasn't put in any fast sectors. She's still on course for a decent lap time, but she's not going to improve on her 52.7 on this one.
Everybody is within the 110% qualifying limit, so we'll have a full complement of 25 riders on the grid for race 1 coming up tomorrow. Still Herrera, who is quickest. Lucy Budasol off the pace there in the first sector, so she won't improve on this lap. Sarah Sanchez trying her hardest to improve, but she lost quite a lot of time in sector 3. Was on for a top 10, now down to a projected P12 here, as Sanchez comes through turn 12, Ferrari turn, down towards the Jorge Lorenzo hairpin at the end of this 4.42 kilometre lap here. Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto.
The timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, keep an eye on that for any red sectors. If you're on a red sector, that means you're going to move up to the top of the times. Personal best are the orange sectors, like you can see beside Sarah Sanchez's name. That's why she's moved up with her personal best in this session. Chloe Jones in 10th spot, 2 orange sectors. So Chloe is on course for her personal best. Should be able to move herself up onto those front 2 rows of the grid.
Yes, projected P5 on our timing screen at the moment. Chloe Jones, there she is, just getting ahead now of the rider. She was slipstreaming off Astrid Madrigal, another rider ahead at the moment now. Chloe Jones is trying to break out in attack.
Sonia Lloyd is the 32, and you can see for Chloe just trying to figure out how she's able to put her bike through there without losing time. She lost too much time though, because the run through that corner, she's very much balked by Sonia Lloyd, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that she's just faster than Lloyd. Lloyd on this lap with 2 personal bests in the first 2 sectors, so for her she was still on for a good lap, but ultimately a rider like Chloe is just that much faster than her.
7.5 minutes of the session still to go for Chloe to improve though, but yes, she lost over a second there with that bit of traffic coming through the back of the circuit. She'll try and improve down the straights, but will remain in P10 as Ramos goes up onto the front row on the number 58 with a 152.621. That bumps Lucy Budassil down onto the second row. So Paula Ramos, the wild card, certainly looking to upset the apple cart here this weekend. It's still the 2 championship contenders at the top of the times, the only 2 to go under the 152 mark. Lucy Budassil in P4, back in the pit box at the moment, about to leave once again. Ruiz and Relf completing the top 6. Then it's Dobbs, Ponziani and Rivera on row 3 as Chloe Jones going for another hot lap, and Astrid Madrigal improving in her first sector as well this time around, as Beatriz Naylor leads Lucy Budassil back onto track.
This works out well for both of them because they've both got a fast rider to work with now for the rest of the session.
Yes, so they'll try and catch a slipstream off each other. Sarah Sanchez still down in 12th position at the moment. Beatriz Naylor signalling for Lucy Budassil to go ahead of her there because she wants to get the slipstream off the 17. She wants to work together with her to try and get that Superpole off Maria Herrera.
Well, she doesn't want to work together, she just wants to take advantage, really. But
yes,
you can see there for Budassil on the second row of the grid, she's doing a good job. Plenty of riders out there trying to improve. For Ramos on the 58, still on course for her personal best, should be able to bring herself closer to Beatriz Naylor. She's a second off right now, match the time of Lucy Budassil. This should be a lot faster.
Yes, equal times to 3rd and 4th at the moment. Also Chloe Jones improving further down, looking to finally get herself up onto the second row.
And if the times are equal, you go back to the second fastest lap for each of those riders on the count back.
Yes, so we'll see if the 58 of Ramos can improve on that 152.621 this time.
Just to see for Chloe Jones, you can see they're entering the pits for her lap time. She'd been on course for a personal best, and Chloe came straight into the pits there. So we'll keep an eye and see what the situation is for Chloe. But her pit box is just opposite our commentary box. But with 5.5 minutes left in the session, you don't want to spend too long in the pits at this stage. But that's a surprise there for Chloe, just to see her come in when she had been on for a good lap. But we'll wait and see what the situation is.
Maria Herrera in the pits at the moment.
Could be a good indication of why Chloe came into the pits there as well.
Yes, maybe looking to get the toe off. Maria Herrera wants a faster rider to work with. We'll see if Chloe reappears behind the number 6 here.
Yeah, and Chloe Jones just leaving the pits now as well. This is Mal Dobbs in the number 14 machine, and some big changes for Mal over the course of the second half of this season. 3rd row of the grid, and good qualifying effort from her so far, 1.6 seconds off the pace, but certainly for Mal, important to be able to come away with something here at the end of the season. It's been a tricky campaign for her. 2 top 10 finishes last time out in Magny Court, the best weekend of the season for her. She went well at Jerez last year, and important to be able to put in a good lap.
Yes, Mal Dobbs, the best grid she's had this year is 11th at Cremona. As Chloe Jones also behind Beatriz Naylor there, so that trip into the pits has worked well. She timed the exit very well indeed. She's got the 2 title contenders in front of her now to try and catch a toe off and improve that lap time. Still down in P11 at the moment, so when she's onto her next flying lap, we should see her move up at least onto the second row of the grid. Naylor has improved in sector 1, very slightly down on Herrera though, and the rider improving on this lap is Taylor Relf on the number 8, could improve into P4.
Yeah, you can see for Naylor on the 36, she's found a bit of time in that second sector. She's got fast riders around her, including her championship rival Maria Herrera, so we'll see what she's able to do on the end of this lap. Relf went in a bit hot into the last corner, but we'll see if she's been able to still maintain her speed. Should be able to move up onto the front of the second row.
This may have been balked very slightly there by Lucy Mikel on the number 16, the German, but she does go P4, Taylor Rell, for the 152.549, excuse me, just under a second off Maria Herrera's pace there. Budasol goes down to 5th. Paquita Ruiz now down into P6. This
is interesting because Nela has rolled off on this lap. She wants to stick with Maria Herrera for Herrera's fast lap, and with both of them first and second, there's not a lot to gain, a lot to lose if you end up giving your rival that bit of a benefit. So for Nela, she's going to just try and lay down a bit of a marker now and use this as something up against Maria Herrera. The rider that's in the pound seats, Chloe Jones, though, she's got first and second on the grid in front of her right now, so this should be on her flying lap where she's able to really move up the order.
Yes, and she's just lurking there behind the top two, as she was for the entirety of that out lap, and we'll see what Chloe can do here. And Lucy Budasol is right in front of this group as well. She's currently P5. Is she going to perhaps drop back and catch a toe off these three, maybe for a quick lap next time around? It's all very tactical here in this Tissot Superpole session, but less than 2.5 minutes of it to go now, so they've only got a couple of chances to go quicker.
Yeah, you can see for Herrera not pushing too hard on this lap, and the times would indicate that as well, and just making sure that Nela stays behind her at this point.
So time counting down then. Chloe Jones still looking to improve. Her first split time puts her up onto the second row, and now through sector 2, possibly a front row.
But you can see there for Nela not trying to put herself in a position to draft past the number 6 of Herrera. So Chloe Jones, this is going to work out quite well for her.
So let's see if Chloe can get herself onto the front row. She took Tissot Superpole in the last round at Manicourt in France some 6 weeks ago. Can she knock Maria Herrera off the top here in this battle for pole position? It's still Herrera from Nela and Ramos, an all-Spanish front row as things stand at the moment. Taylor Relf in 4th place. Chloe Jones still down in P11 in the times, but projected to move up onto the front 2 rows here. Projected P4 on our timing screen at the moment. Let's see what she can do here, trying to catch a toe off Maria Herrera as they come towards the end of the lap through the right-hander at Ferrari, then up towards the Jorge Lorenzo hairpin. What is Chloe Jones going to do here? Is she going to dive up the inside on Maria Herrera? No, she's not. Stays in the toe.
Samoa's just on the 22 machine in the way of all this group, and doesn't have the speed of them. And we'll see if that has a big impact then on Chloe Jones's lap at the end of it.
Here they come over the line. Herrera's not going to improve. Is Jones. She goes P6. Was on for most of that lap to go P4, but at least she's onto the second row there with a 152.735. Still Herrera, Nela and Ramos your front row.
Yeah, they just caught Samoa's at the wrong place, and she's 19th fast. She's 4 seconds off the pace on her best lap. So for these fast riders, it just ended up costing them that bit of time at the end of the lap, and ultimately it's Chloe Jones that's the only one that is really impacted by that. Herrera is still on provisional pole. Nela is still second fastest.
Roberta Ponziani is on to improve here as well on the number 96, just going down towards turns 9 and 10.
Nela needs to make sure that for her, someone like Chloe Jones is in the fight and able to be a little bit of an impact in the championship battle, because she might well need someone else that's able to take that scrap to Herrera.
Big slide there from Paula Ramos into the final corner. That was almost speedway style as she comes through to complete another lap. She was only a couple of tenths of a second off her best through sector 3 as the checkered flag goes out on this session, and Ramos a 151.947 gets under the 152 mark, but the personal best lap remains in P3 though. The wild card provisionally on the front row at the moment. Let's see what Taylor Relf can do. No, she stays P4. Ponziani up into P4. Said she was improving on that lap, knocks Taylor Relf down to P5, and Chloe Jones is knocked, for now at least, off those front 2 rows. Looks behind her there, coming through at the far side of the circuit.
For Chloe, she's not going to be able to improve on her personal best on this lap, so that's it done, and she's going to qualify in the 3rd row. Great, good job from Ponziani at the end of the session. She's teammates to Maria Herrera, so at least it gives Herrera someone else up there with her for the fight.
Yeah, she'll be acting as a tail gunner when race 1 gets underway tomorrow, I am sure. Lucy Budasol looking to improve here, as is Maria Herrera. I don't think she'll improve as the checkered flag goes out. No, she does not. Last lap was 152.8. So she will take Tissot Superpole. Maria Herrera 151.572. That's a record Tissot Superpole lap for here at the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto. Beatriz Nela will line up alongside her on the front row, and it's Paula Ramos, the wild card, who will complete the front row of the grid.
Ramos lived up to her billing as well coming into this weekend. A lot of people had said keep an eye on her. Qualifies on the front row of the grid for her WCR debut.
Yes, her first ever race in the World WCR coming up tomorrow, so it is an all-Spanish front row here at Jerez. Roberta Pontiani with the star lap at the end of the session there to move up from just outside the top 10 into P4 alongside Taylor Elf and Lucy Budasul on the second row. Chloe Jones has to settle for 7th place alongside Paquita Ruiz and Mallory Dobbs, the American, still getting her best grid slots of the season so far. Natalia Rivera completes the top 10 with Astrid Madrigal and Sarah Sanchez after those problems with her crash helmet visor earlier in the session, limiting her running. She will line up completing the 4th row. So Superpole goes to Maria Herrera. That's her 6th career Superpole in her 2 seasons of World WCR. Plenty of running in there, 14 laps in that session. Set her best time fairly early on. Edward Naylor tried to improve 0.3 of a second off her championship rival. Less than a second covering the top 5 on the grid here in Tissot Superpole in very hot conditions here in the south of Spain. Sarah Sanchez, her best lap set towards the end of the session there, but limited running for her because of those early problems. Had to do a bit of a rush towards the end of the session. Yeah,
you can see for Sanchez there as well, just with the clear visor on as well, so an indication just of the issues that she was having during the course of that session. Ultimately, coming back from injury was always going to be a tough weekend for her, but 4th row of the grid's going to make it very difficult.
So we'll wait to see what happens in race 1 coming up tomorrow morning. It's a busy programme here on the final weekend of the Superbike World Championship circus here at Jerez.
It sets up nicely though, after Magny-Cours and such a good race. It's a weekend here in Jerez that means that everyone should be able to stay quite close together. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities. Herrera and Naylor 1st and 2nd in the championship, 1st and 2nd on the grid. We've got a wild card in the mix in Ramos, so making her debut and right up there at the front. Ponziani, Ralph, Lucy Budasal's been strong this season. Chloe Jones, the form rider in the championship, she's up there as well. So the front 7 all have plenty of reasons for optimism.
They really do, and we've got an interesting situation ahead for race 1 tomorrow, where the boys will talk you through it, and then race 2 will be over the weekend as well. We'll see you later on then for practice 2 here on JB Motorsports for all the action for World Superbikes. We'll see you later on. Take care. Bye-bye.